What if I told you that the distance you feel from your Creator is not because you are unworthy, but because you were taught the relationship incorrectly? What if your entire spiritual life has been built on fear instead of love? Pause for a moment. Ask yourself honestly, do you feel close to Allah, or are you just trying not to disappoint Him? Because there is a difference, a profound difference. One creates anxiety, the other creates intimacy. Most of us were raised with a silent assumption that our relationship with Allah is like a contract. You pray, He rewards. You sin, He punishes. Obey, and you're safe. Slip, and you're in danger. And slowly, without realizing it, faith becomes a transaction, a checklist, a system of spiritual survival. But here's the unsettling truth. A transactional relationship can never produce love. Only fear, only pressure, only distance. And this is why so many hearts today feel empty, even while performing rituals, because the body is present, but the soul is absent. Let's dismantle the illusion. Because the Quran does not introduce Allah as a distant authority first, it introduces Him as something far more intimate. In Surah Al-Baqarah, Surah 2, verse 186, Allah says, "When my servants ask you about me, I am near. I respond to the call of the one who calls upon me. Not distant, not unreachable, near, closer than your assumptions, closer than your doubts, closer than your own voice inside your head." And yet, why do we still feel far? Because we were taught to approach Him like a king to be feared, instead of a beloved to be known. But the soul is absent. The Quran does not just speak the language of law, it speaks the language of love, repeatedly, explicitly. In Surah Al-Ma'idah, Surah 5, verse 54, Allah describes a group. He loves them and they love Him. Pause there. Not just obedience, not just submission, mutual love. This is not the language of a distant master. This is the language of intimacy. And in Surah Ali Imran, Surah 3, verse 31, Allah says, "Say, if you love Allah, then follow me. Allah will love you." Do you realize what this means? You are not just meant to obey Allah, you are meant to be loved by Him. Now understand this carefully. Fear has its place, but fear alone creates spiritual suffocation, because fear says, "I must be perfect to be accepted." And that is a lie, a destructive lie. Because in Surah Az-Zumar, Surah 39, verse 53, Allah says, "O my servants who have wronged themselves, do not despair of the mercy of Allah." Notice something powerful. He doesn't say, "O perfect believers." He says, "O those who have wronged themselves." Even in your brokenness, He calls you His. This is not the voice of rejection. This is the voice of a Creator who refuses to let go of you. Here is the transformation. A servant obeys out of obligation. A beloved responds out of love. A servant asks, "What is required of me?" A beloved asks, "What brings me closer?" A servant fears punishment. A beloved fears distance. And this shift changes everything. Because when love enters the relationship, worship stops feeling like a burden and starts feeling like a return. Many people carry a silent belief, "I will never be good enough for Allah." But the Quran dismantles this. In Surah Qaf, Surah 50, verse 16, Allah says, "We are closer to Him than His jugular vein, closer than your own existence, closer than your own breath." So how can you be too far? The problem is not your distance. The problem is your perception. You think you need to reach Him, when in reality, He has always been reaching you. There is a profound pattern in the Quran. Allah always initiates closeness. In Surah Al-Anfal, Surah 8, verse 24, He says, "Respond to Allah and the Messenger when He calls you to that which gives you life." Think about that. Faith is not restricting your life, it is reviving it. You are not being controlled, you are being awakened, because without this connection, you may exist, but you are not truly alive. Let's be honest, you can pray and feel nothing, you can fast and feel empty, you can perform every ritual and still feel disconnected. Why? Because rituals without love are just movements, but rituals with awareness become encounters. The same prayer can either feel like an obligation or a meeting with the one who loves you. The difference is not in the action, it is in the heart. Submission has been misunderstood. People think it means losing freedom, but the Quran reframes it. In Surah Ash-Shams, Surah 91, verses 7 to 9, Allah speaks about the soul. He inspired it with its wrong and its right. Successful is the one who purifies it. Submission is not oppression, it is alignment with your true self. Because deep down, your soul already knows Allah. It is not being introduced, it is being reminded. So how do you move from servant unto beloved? It begins with one shift. Stop performing. Start connecting. Speak to Allah, not like a distant authority, but like someone who already knows you, because He does. In Surah Al-Mulk, Surah 67, verse 13 to 14, Allah says, "Whether you keep your words secret or declare them, He knows what is within the hearts. You are already seen, already known, already understood." Real intimacy requires vulnerability, and Allah invites that. You don't need perfect words. You don't need formal language. You need honesty, because the one who created your heart understands it without translation. Here is the truth you were never taught. You are not just a servant trying to earn acceptance. You are a soul, being invited into closeness, into love, into a relationship that is deeper than fear and stronger than your failures. Here is the truth you were never taught. You are not just a servant trying to earn acceptance. You are a soul, being invited into closeness, into love, into a relationship that is deeper than fear and stronger than your failures. So the next time you stand to pray, don't just stand as a servant fulfilling duty. Stand as someone being called, being loved, being invited. Because Allah is not waiting to reject you. He is waiting for you to come closer. You were never meant to just obey. You were meant to belong.